What's going on, my dudes? Got us another training other people's video for MX Simulator. Hey, remember when I used to do those? Oh, shit, yeah, no. Either way, we're going to get them rolling. So, got an email from a while back coming from Jack Wilson, and I want to preface this entire video by saying some of you guys that are sending me, the training request emails and stuff like that, I get a lot of emails where you guys will send me a demo, but then you won't really tell me what you're having trouble with. You won't really tell me what you're having problems with. So it makes it really hard for me to come in here and actually tell you what's going on, because all I'm doing is looking at how you're riding. Like, yeah, I can tell you like a general type thing, but if you don't, like, the more specific you get on what you're having trouble with, the better I can help you. So just future reference, some of you guys that are sending in those training emails to my email address, like, you got to be a little more specific, man. So all this guy basically said in his email was that he was having trouble with the jumps in the corners. I mean, that's kind of like pretty much all he said. He said like basically one sentence, and that was what I took out of it. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to just help you in that way. It's like difficult when someone doesn't tell me. See, that's how I can go in here and train you a lot better, is when you tell me exactly what you're having trouble with or what's going wrong. And then I can go in there and see the visual of it and have you also telling me what's going on. So I can put both those things together and then help you that way. But when I'm just having to, you just tell me, man, I'm having trouble on the corners and having trouble on the jumps, I can't, like, it's hard for me to even start anywhere with that, I mean, I'll do the best I can here, man, but that's like all I can really do. Now, he did say his rider level was beginner, so we at least got that much down, okay? But all he basically said in his email was, I was trying my hardest for 2 laps, and I need help with the corners and the jumps, and anything else you want to help me with, that'd be appreciated. That was like pretty much his whole email there. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's hard to even like start to help you. And obviously you guys are seeing this in my first person settings, whereas this guy may play in third person. He may have totally different first person settings, so you're seeing it kind of through as if I was riding with his exact skill and setup and all that kind of crap. You know what I mean? So that can be a little different on certain training videos where I'm actually going through there and actually getting a demo from somebody and putting it in my MX simulator and recording over that, versus just getting somebody's like YouTube video and recording over that. It's going to be a little different, but either way, to get to actually try to help you here a little, I mean, this track honestly looks pretty insane. I don't think I've ever actually rode on this. I had to go download it just to even look at your demo. So yeah, that just in itself looks like it's got some pretty gnarly, freaking jagged, square edge, close together roughness on it. Really tight, weird style roughness. It looks like you're bouncing super quick off of that roughness too. I don't know if it's you've either got your rebound, something like that, way too high. You've got some setting way too high for it to just instantly bounce you like that. You've got something going on there. Obviously, you're going to pop off right there. That's just like, don't hit the gas that hard. I mean, basically, you're not going to be able to jump something that far, man. But just the track itself, like design-wise, looks a little bit insane. Just trying to, it's just so hard to take it back to this level, because there's so many levels to MX Simulator and such a scale of skill gap that if someone doesn't specifically tell you the problem, it's so hard to come back in and actually say it. You're crashing in every corner. I can tell you right now, you're getting way too ahead of yourself. You need to slow the hell down. You're like trying to gas it way too much for your skill level. You're getting way too ahead of yourself out of the corner. You just got to go slow. Like, a lot of people can't get that in their head. A lot of beginners can't get that in their head. Like, go slower, dog. Treat it like it's a real dirt bike in real life and ride like you would as a novice or whatever you are in real life in the game. Don't try to ride like Eli Tomac in MX Simulator when you're actually just a novice, not even a pro in MX Simulator, but you're over there trying to ride like Tomac. Like, no, dude, that's not the smart way to go about doing it. You're not going to get there instantly, so you might as well take it slow. You might as well take your time with it. Yeah, you've got something going on. Either your vertical, horizontal springs, something's jacked up there. I mean, honestly, if I was you, and I know you sent me this email a while back, but if I was you, I would put everything back to stock because you've got something totally jacked here. I don't know if I don't know exactly what is causing that. Maybe you don't have a high enough rider mass distribution. I mean, that can certainly cause a little bit of that stiffness. You know, when you got your bike a little too stiff, then it makes it to where it won't react properly when you're going at more of a pro speed. You know what I'm saying? So you have to advance your setup over time. You can't just keep that same old, you know, full-blown default setup and expect to go faster and faster and faster. It's literally impossible on MX Simulator. Now, I'm not saying, you know, you got to have this super amazing actual suspension, like as far as the forks and shock, compression, all that. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about stability, rider mass distribution, the vertical, horizontal spring shit. Those three things are like super, super important. The actual compression, all that bullshit, I mean, you can jack that up to where it'll make a huge difference and really mess you up, but even if you have that stock, like, it's not going to hurt you that bad, you know what I mean? It's not going to, like, hinder your ability to go fast that bad, as I've proven with the multiple stock videos that I've made before, where I can go mob around a track with a complete stock suspension, not stock setup, right? Stock suspension. A lot of people got to realize the difference there, but yeah, you're just kind of getting ahead of yourself. What may be happening here is you have way too much of a beginner setup and you're trying to go way faster than the beginner setup. I mean, that kind of looks like what might be going on here. You know, it's just kicking you over that roughness way too quick. You could have your suspension way too soft. I mean, I know it needs to have a little bit of softness, but also if you don't have any sort of stiffness to your suspension and you don't have high rider mass distribution and low stability and your vertical spring stuff hasn't been adjusted, then you're going to get this really stale, stiff, stagnant feeling where it feels like every little bump you hit, it's like, you know, someone's pushing your front wheel away from you or bouncing your front tire off of a rock or something like that. You know, it's going to kind of give you that feeling because that's made for a beginner, because a beginner's never going to hit shit that fast. So a beginner can run a beginner setup, but once you start getting faster, you can't have that because you're going faster. You see what I'm saying? You're like tiptoeing in your Jordans just trying not to bounce over this roughness. I don't know. It's hard to even like figure out what actually is the problem, but I can tell you right now it's definitely a suspension setup something. You got something way out of whack for it to bounce like that. That is bouncing way too hardcore. It looks like you got a damn like super on the Supercross setup or something. You may have it way too stiff, even though I highly doubt a beginner would have it way too stiff. I honestly think it's probably just something within your vertical, horizontal spring shit, or it's your I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. It really is. Let me play this back a little bit. Let me try to get this puppy in third person. We'll kind of see here. There's just a plethora of different things that can cause that super bouncy feeling. But I know it's not going to have that bouncy feeling on stock. So you've adjusted something in the wrong way. Like, I can tell you that for a fact. It's either that or you have basically your stability, rider mass distribution, vertical, horizontal springs way too close to stock, or like what a beginner would have, those three different settings. So you need to go in there and play around with that. Of course, you sent me this a while back, so I'm sure you probably already have. You're probably way faster now. I got to get caught up on these damn, training other people videos here. It's going to get to the point where somebody sends me a training other people email, and they're like full-blown beginner, and by the time I even look at it, they became a pro in the game. Damn it. That's kind of how it's going to get to a certain point, so I got to get in here and grind these out, man. But either way, I hope I helped you to some extent. It's just hard to even, you got to get real specific on like what the bike is doing. Like, what do you mean by you have trouble jumping? What do you mean by you have trouble cornering? Is it you can't turn quick enough? Is it the bike's reacting weird? Like, what is it? You got to tell me a little more for me to even actually pinpoint how to fix it. Because me just looking at it like this from naked eye view, it's really hard to say. But first of all, I'd get off of this janky ass weird roughness track, because that's not helping your case at all. This is a bizarre built track right here. I'll say that for a fact. It's like just a janky version of Glen Helen, like really weird. So either way, damn man, yeah, you're struggling. You're getting way too ahead of yourself, and or your suspension is nowhere near made for your speed level. It'd be like Eli Tomac going out there on not just a stock bike, right? Because Eli Tomac can hop on a stock bike and get around the track okay. But it'd be like Eli Tomac going out there and getting on someone like a beginner's bike that's actually set up for a beginner. You see what I'm saying? One that's like meant for going super slow and feels comfortable of going super slow. That's what it looks like right now. Be like Eli Tomac get on that kind of bike. So that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it kind of looks like you just need to go back to stock and redo all your shit because you've got some setting way too high or way too low. There's something extreme in there going on that's going to cause that kind of bounce. I mean, that's like insanity level bounce right there. You're instantly getting kicked off, like instantly, just over a little bit of roughness, man. You could have your leaning way jacked. You could have your stability way too high. You know, if you have your stability too high, it makes it to where you can't make those adjustments to rebalance yourself over the roughness. You're just kind of along for the ride. You know what I mean? And as a beginner, you want to be a little bit along for the ride because you don't know how to control that ride. But once you start getting faster, you want to get more control. And that's where the raising the rider mass distribution, adjusting the vertical horizontal springs, lowering the stability, that's where all that comes into play a lot. And you'll be able to actually land shit like that, you know. I can see that right there. Let's see. So you jump this. Yeah, it looks like you were just 100% on for the ride. Like you have no control over the bike at all. That's bizarre as hell. You've got that bike way too set up beginner. Like your actual speed and skill is way overriding the bike setup and suspension, in my opinion, is what it looks like to me. But either way, hope this video helped a little bit, man. It's hard to even help you with the jumps and the corners when you're bouncing off the roughness instantly. Like, you know, you got to get something either back to stock or something going here before I can even help you in the damn corners, man. You know, you can't even get out of a straightaway like this, dude. So, but either way, hope this video helps you guys out a little bit at least. I'll get to making some more of these training other people videos. We'll get them rocking. So, yeah, don't forget, guys, my email address is just Spencer Turley, no space, no capital, @live.com. And it's not no space, no capital in the email. Holy shit, that's really hard to actually say my email. Okay, let me just say my email right here, okay? It's just Spencer Turley @live.com. with no spaces or capital letters. There we go. So yeah, if you hit me up with a training other people video, I'll get on there and respond to it as quickly as I can. Just leave me a demo in MX Simulator of you riding and get real specific on the problems that you're having and what's going wrong with you. I'll try to help you the best I can. I get a lot of joy out of coming in here and doing this. Makes me happy to see beginners trying to learn MX Simulator, and I try to do everything I can to help them out. So yeah, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.